Am I the butthole for no longer allowing my sister to work in my daycare after what she did? Hi. I'm a 32-year-old widow. Have been for 3 years. I struggled a lot financially. I didn't get help from my family because they claim they can't, so I decided to start a home daycare. It's been open for 7 months now. My friend was able to get me more clients via Facebook. Thank goodness my business is growing and I've made quite a lot of friends who are moms and also established good reputation since my daycare has been recommended. My sister, 26, is unemployed. Didn't find a job yet and had rent to pay for her and her boyfriend. My parents suggested I let her come work with me at my daycare and accepted since she has experience in the past. I agreed to let her come and earn her living. She got along with the other workers and things were going fine. Until she came to me asking about a specific child that comes to our daycare. He's 4. Very well behaved for his age. I was confused after she complained about him. She said she saw his dad come over to pick him up and didn't feel comfortable when she saw him because he's a police officer, and she had an unpleasant incident with the police because of something her boyfriend did that she needed therapy for and struggled a lot from. She wanted me to let the child go and tell the parent to look for another daycare. He usually arrives at 3 p.m. to pick the kid up. From what I understand, his wife's sick. I refused. I've no good reason to let the child go. My sister refused to drop it and started being mean to the dad. It was unprofessional of her. I told her she either be respectful or I won't have her work with me anymore. 2 days ago she sent an email to the dad telling him we won't be welcoming his kid at the daycare anymore. He came to talk to me and I was livid when I saw the email. He asked why and talked about his kid wanting to stay because he's friends with other kids. Talked about not being able to find a daycare closer than ours. I lashed out at my sister and I told her she's no longer able to work at the daycare because of her behavior. We got into an argument and she left after saying I was being unsupportive and inconsiderate. My parents called me saying I shouldn't have kicked my sister out and now causing her to lose her apartment. They argued I have no regard for my sister trauma and I should have let the child go and support her because she's my sister. Everyone shamed me and claimed I had messed up priorities. I felt I was in the wrong for letting her struggle now without a job, but I had no reason to let go of the child as well. He wears a uniform. My aunt suggested that I ask him to get someone else to come and pick up his kid, or at least I let her leave before 3 p.m. and arrive a bit late in the morning. But others would notice the difference in treatment at the daycare. I understand that there are parents struggling and I do all I can to help out and be supportive. Yes, she's my younger sister, but treating people like that was unprofessional of her. One thing to clarify. My sister's boyfriend is in no contact with my family due to issues. However, they said they want to support my sister and be in contact with her and support her, although they don't have a relationship with her boyfriend. That's why they keep pressuring me to help and support her. Not the butthole. You could have lost the whole business because of what she did, and you gave her plenty of warning. Even if she needed therapy, she was still being beyond unreasonable. She could have excused herself for a break at the time the cop came to his kid, and she'd have never needed to see him, but instead she went behind your back and went against your explicit instructions. She got exactly what she deserves. The fact she had the nerve to send an email as if she had any authority. She is not an owner or partner and she way overstepped her position. If any other employee pulled this stunt, they would have been fired too. She is not exempt just because she's your sister. Agreed. I'm not one to believe family over everything because family doesn't always have your interests in mind. She should never have sent an email to that family. I'm glad the father was respectful enough to talk to you before just lashing out or even leaving bad reviews or something. Everyone should know that their actions have consequences. She was a disrespectful ass and losing her job was the consequence. Hope she learned the lesson. Besides this, what she did could have cost Original Poster her whole business and then both of them would be out of work, and that helps no one. Ops family didn't consider that when they made Original Poster feel bad. Just goes to show the fact that the cop dad is actually a really good guy and isn't a butthole at all. Meanwhile, sis is judging him based on some other person who simply has the same job. Totally discrimination on her part to a nice father just trying to provide for his family. I'm totally with the Original Poster on this and that the sister is the A, but I don't think it's fair to call it discrimination. It sounds more like the sister has PTSD or something. She may not be able to help her fear response. Her mistake was assuming that it was Op's responsibility to accommodate her disability issue. And she became the A when she went behind her sister's back and acted outside her authority. Totally falls under the heading of discrimination. What if the sister had had an unpleasant or traumatic situation with a black man? Or a white woman? Would it be reasonable of her to expect all parents that happen to be black men, or white women, not to drop their kid off at school? Of course not. That's ridiculous. Just because she's not talking about race doesn't mean she's not actively trying to discriminate against someone because they belong to a particular group of people. I get that she has PTSD, but it's not the rest of the world's responsibility to make you feel better. It's your responsibility to get help and make yourself feel better, and others will be considerate and accommodating of you when it is reasonable to do so. Not the butthole, by the way. If someone has PTSD, it wouldn't be reasonable either. She would be expected to manage her mental health so that it didn't impact others. I agree it looks like a duck, and it even quacks like a duck. But in this case I just don't think it is a duck. Or at least it's not mainly a duck. Maybe she's also prejudiced against police. Comorbidity is a thing. But this sounds like something closer to a phobia or a trauma reaction. For example, it's common in shelters for abused women to not allow any men in because many of the residents have a trauma aversion to all males. I know this because my construction business employs women carpenters and we do repair work in women's shelters. These women are not prejudiced against men, they are just traumatized. In the context of the shelter is possible and appropriate to prioritize their needs and exclude men. But that would obviously not be okay in a normal workplace or work site. But I agree with you that the sister is not being reasonable, is not taking responsibility for her health, and is generally the butthole in this situation. She does not have a right to prioritize her needs over the op, the child, or the dad. I just don't think her particular brand of butthole is discrimination. Good point, but we are talking about two different things. An abuse victim living in a shelter should feel like they are in a safe space. If the cop was coming to her home, I would 100% agree that she has the right to turn her away, but it isn't her home. An employee working at a daycare shouldn't put it on the company and the clients to facilitate her mental/emotional trauma. If her PTSD is so bad she literally cannot be around cops without being triggered, she needs to find employment that offers her the safe space she requires. There are plenty of good jobs that don't require any interaction with people. Choosing to work in education/childcare is not the place for someone who can't be around certain groups of people. She didn't learn from this. She doesn't learn, or she'd have already learned before this. Before just lashing out or even leaving bad reviews or something. And consider this, Op's business was built purely through word of mouth. How quickly do you think word of mouth could destroy her credibility? Op's business was built purely through word of mouth. How quickly do you think word of mouth could destroy her credibility? I'd give it 48 hours. Bad news travels much faster than good news. I'm betting that the dad noticed the email was not sent by the owner/manager and figured something was suspicious about that. Thank goodness for Op. But seriously, the sister is a total butthole for that. An original poster is 10,000%, not the butthole. This is not at all how sister should have handled this. She could have taken this to her therapist and talked with them about this new trigger so they could brainstorm solutions, then sister could have brought those options to Op. I'm sure if sister had brought some ideas to Op, they'd have been happy to discuss them and figure out how best to help sister going forward. Definitely not the butthole. This. So much this. Op, you're treating this situation exactly as you should. You have a business and are running it as such. The problem here isn't you, it's that your family doesn't understand that your business and your relationships are two different things and will be treated accordingly. They're right in that you didn't treat her as your sister in this situation, nor should you have. She was your employee, and you treated her accordingly. What she did was a fireable offense and, due to her own doing, can no longer be trusted. She did this to herself. Also, make sure you change that password and never let an employee have it again. Someone should ask the parents if they want to support two kids because they made the original poster lose her business. Lose. Not loose. My thoughts exactly. The email alone is overstepping. Plus, that's Op's livelihood, and it's interesting that no one in her family seems to care about that. It really sounds like original poster is used by her family, but can't rely on them in return. Who doesn't help their widowed daughter? NTA. Original poster would be better off reducing interactions with her family. They don't seem to have her best interest in mind, nor does it seem the siblings are treated as equals. The fact she had the nerve to send an email as if she had any authority. That kind of stinking thinking is probably why she has trouble with cops in the first place. Getting heavy or high-handed with police and trying to dominate them is a trait more common among criminals. No. I have issues with cops because they illegally searched my car after lying to me when I was a teenager. They've racially profiled my boyfriend and his friend, and they've assaulted other friends of mine during peaceful protests. Our cops have been called out nationally for racially profiling black drivers and POC, and for targeting children to throw into the prison system. There's plenty of folks in our communities who would also be leery of being around cops, who aren't criminals. I'm probably the most law-abiding person you'll ever meet, and so is my boyfriend and my friends. However, that doesn't mean I take it out on random cops for no reason, and I certainly wouldn't take it out on a small child who just needs a safe daycare space. The sister was definitely the butthole, but it's bizarre to immediately decide she's a criminal or she's the reason she's had issues with cops. There is some story going here not told to us. Her sister's boyfriend is no contact with her family. What happened, we don't know. You are correct, but the difference between you and her is that she took it out on a random cop and his innocent child. I think she needs to start asking herself what she is doing to bring trouble into her life. I am not victim blaming here, I'm just saying her behavior is a red flag that she isn't completely innocent. And she took it out on her sister's business and livelihood. She put the whole family's future at risk. She had to go. I've had horrible experiences with the police, and yet I still manage to treat them with respect and professionalism. Especially denying services to their child? No excuses, not the butthole, your sister is. I agree. Ain't the kid's fault his dad's a cop. Absolutely. She shouldn't have done that. Truth be told, the man did nothing wrong. Clearly he has issues and is struggling. Just like any other parent. He's very polite and respectful. I told her many times and gave her warnings, but she went on and did this anyway. Also, F your family for not being able to help you when your husband died but expecting you to bend over backwards for your sister and her potentially criminal boyfriend after you got back on your feet and got a bit of stability. This needs to be upvoted more. Absolutely this. Your family are the buttholes here, not you, Op. NTA. Edit. Thank you for the awards, kind strangers. Yeah, whatever happened to supporting family? Pretty sure risking your sister's entire livelihood isn't very supportive. Not the butthole. Seems like it only works for one daughter. I was thinking that exact same thing. I've lost a husband and know how hard it is. The fact that original poster pulled herself up and created a successful business is amazing. Op's family has a lot to learn. Especially seeing as original poster built this business over time, and her sister's ridiculous butthurt could have cost original poster her business. Not only did she send the email, not only was her issue not with Op's client but another officer, but she was being deliberately mean to a 4-year-old boy. Not the butthole. Call block is a beautiful feature. Yay, I was wondering what exactly happened with her sister's boyfriend, and the police thing. Because whatever happened, it's not like all or even most police officers are the same, corrupt or whatever, if that even is the case in that situation, or would do the same thing as whatever happened to her boyfriend. Unless it's some weird general cover-up that goes way up the chain, but I doubt that's the case. The only thing I could think is maybe the uniform is triggering, but if it happened to her boyfriend, I'm not even sure the sister was there when the event occurred. But if the uniform is triggering, like others said, she can just leave or go somewhere for a few minutes while he gets his kid. He might not even wear the uniform every time. But it just seems like she's punishing or judging all cops based off of the actions of one. Then taking the daycare situation into her own hands with no right to. This. Wish I had extra upvotes. Well, this seems like the perfect comment for my wholesome award. Well earned. This, exactly, if anything, sounds like a toxic family that only cares about the other daughter and not original poster. NTA. She unilaterally made a decision about your business. If this person wasn't your sister, there'd be no argument from anyone. She should be fired. Unfortunately for your sister, this is the consequence of her actions. If you're this dependent on a job for your financial stability, you don't pull stupid crap like this. She unilaterally made a decision about your business. Not just that, but could the cop also sue for discrimination since the sister tried to remove the child because he was a cop? Could he sue? Yeah. Would it get immediately dismissed? Yes. A cop isn't a protected class. To be honest, I think a lawsuit would scare off other parents, aka clients, regardless of if it went anywhere. You're probably right. Now that I think about it, I just remembered that gay people are not allowed to buy cakes. Not the butthole. There's a reason your sister is unemployed, she's simply a poor employee. This is a business and she failed to demonstrate any respect for you as the owner. Exactly. You would be doing a great disservice to your sister if you didn't fire her for this. She needs to learn this lesson if she's going to get anywhere in the world. Better she learn it now from you than from someone who's going to blacklist her for all other employers. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.